Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for staying with us tonight. Tranquility after 10 p.m. Eastern Standard, not something we're normally used to here, but welcome to the Beat Drop. This is our final Beat Drop here in Stage 2 in the regular season, and that's a pretty crazy thought. Just had a great featured match there. Frost Surge taking the win over Domination, 3-1, finishing out their stage there, and going to give Yeti a absolute headache tonight trying to figure out these brackets with that one because that shakes things up just a little bit. But other fun things of this week that we're going to bring up now, because we're not going to have too much time next week in our Iris podcast on Monday. We have the bracketology mega cast planned. There won't be a Predicting Tranquility. We're going to be merging both shows next week, so make sure you guys are staying tuned for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. But a couple of cool things this week. I really want to say how awesome it is for this run from Oath. Has been really awesome to watch. That's one of the coolest things, at least I saw in this last week. They've had an impressive run here. You know, they would have been in the elimination pool if it wasn't for the Drake situation, and then winning 3 straight and getting 3rd seed. So awesome on their end. Definitely going to be one of the Cinderella stories you're looking for. But enough about them. Also, quick shout out to Taters getting the 3-1. Although not making it to the playoffs, still first in my heart. Congrats to the Fighting Potatoes for getting the win. But okay. Let's get to the Beat Drop tonight. We have 4 great interviews planned. We're going to be talking to community members, some players here in the Tranquility community. We're going to start with Unchanged tonight. You know them from the E Scrimbucks and Vengeance. We're going to then go to WompDomp from Valkyrie, then Phoenix from the Big Bang Buccaneers, and ending with Garrett from the Decapitator. So without further ado, we're going to be getting in to our first interview tonight with the one and only Mr. Unchanged. Unchanged, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be on here. Was
Well,
supposed to be here last week, had to reschedule, but I
hey,
made it.
that's why we do multiple of these, you know? We try to keep as flexible as possible. Well, thanks for staying up with us. I mean, some people probably know you on the NA and EU side of this. Being the GM of EU Scrimbucks definitely points towards one direction, but very late for you right now. So we're going to try to get you out of here not too late. I got to be careful because I think I can talk to you about a few things a lot. With those with a kind eye will notice I'm wearing a very particular soccer jersey right now. Because my interviewee here has a couple of gear on, but we'll get to that here in just a second because I don't want to get too far ahead. But okay, Unchanged. First, let's just walk through kind of your history with Overwatch. So, what kind of led you really to the game? How did you find it?
Well, I always used to play sports games in particular, and then a friend of mine was like, "Hey, there's this really cool uh first person shooter game that you should play." And this was back when I was on Xbox and I started playing Overwatch there. I basically just played Soldier and Torb and just run and
Nice.
gun, did what I needed to do. But being as competitive as I am, I very quickly got addicted with the kind of game that Overwatch is. I loved the different play styles you could have, and once I started trying my hand at some of the different roles, I was really like, okay, I actually really like this game, and I started sinking a lot of time into it. Um, and then that same friend persuaded me to get a PC because he had just done the same. And then, yeah, I just kind of kept grinding from there, and it was like the one game that I was like, I can really it just fueled my competitive spirit and allowed me to meet new people and be good at a first person shooter game, which was something I desperately always try to do playing Call of Duty with friends on Xbox. And
Oh yeah.
I was never very good, but having the other roles in a game like Overwatch, having support and tank, which were the roles I originally mained in this game once I transitioned to PC, uh, I was like, hey, I'm actually good at a first person shooter game for once.
Yeah,
So
I know
yeah,
that
kind of grew from
feeling.
there.
That's the first experience I ever had with different role settings would probably have been way back with like Modern Warfare 3 when they had the I think that was Modern Warfare 3 where they had the three different kill streaks or they had like that support based one where deaths didn't reset and that's what I had to go because I was terrible at FPS but like I wanted to have some kind of benefit. So that was my draw to Overwatch 2 was just seeing something beyond just who's got the best KD because that was never me and it was always my friends for some reason. So never too fun with that. Well, I know you were really pushing for contenders on the EU side a while back. So how early into your Overwatch career really was that?
So like I said, I've been playing on console for ages, and I'd hit like the top ranks there. And when I transitioned over to PC, I found that I didn't seem to have the same transitional issue that a lot of the player base did, and I think that was
Mhm.
predominantly because of the role I play. I mean, my DPS was atrocious when I first transitioned onto PC. I think I was silver on DPS, but I hit like decent ranks on support in particular quite quickly and was like, "Hey, I think I can do this." But it was quite late into Overwatch. This was around season 14 was when I
Oh wow.
transitioned. So
Okay.
it was quite a way, people were grinding PC quite heavily. So um I got in with just a group of people that were already at like a stupidly high elo, just some friends of friends, and yeah, it was just I had nothing else to do. It happened to be the summer holiday over here in England at the time that I did it, and so I just every day I just played, whenever I wasn't playing sport, I was playing like 4-hour blocks of Overwatch and just grinding out the game. And yeah, I hit a point where I was doing like 2 scrim blocks a day, and I was just like, "Hey,"
Ooh.
because I was streaming all the time
Mhm.
at that moment, and I was like, "Hey, I want to see how far I can make this." Like I'm a stupidly over competitive person, and I get addicted to things far too easily. And yeah, Overwatch was that addiction at the time.
Well, I understand that. So you and I have known each other for, I guess, almost at least over a year now. I think is when you first reached out because you were. I first knew you as a caster, even
Yes.
outside of Tranquility itself. So I think you're definitely the first caster I ever got to interview on the Beat Drop. But so I won't go too far into this because God, I could have a whole show just talking about esports and productions. But what led you to casting? How did you find yourself casting Overwatch?
Um, Originally playing the sports games that I did, I would cast small community events. I played FIFA, the football game, and I would just kind of commentate, and commentating over a game like that is more just like having a podcast. There's
Yeah.
such little like activity that you're actually really commentating on, and I was just like, hey, I enjoy doing this, and like I said, I did casting with that, but then I transitioned into streaming when I got a PC because I was like, I think I tried telling my parents I was going to be able to pay for it back, which I don't think
Yeah.
ever quite happened. Um, but yeah, so streaming and then just some people saying that I should. I took a huge break, but then I came back and I met people like Caden, who's a community member here, Caden Vieira,
Oh, yeah.
through Pico,
Mhm.
and they ran the members melee, and I said, hey, I used to do some casting of other games. uh could I help out and do this, because they were always looking for volunteers. So yeah, it was through Pico actually that I really
Okay.
got into Overwatch specifically. I like I said, I'd done some console Overwatch, some console FIFA stuff, but yeah, as far as PC Overwatch, it was very recently, like start of the pandemic, with Pico, that I actually got into Overwatch casting seriously, so it was fairly recently.
Yeah, well, I was just about before that for me. I think it was late 2019, so probably so probably pretty close to when you would have started going heavier on the comp side. I think season 14 was like early 2019, if I remembering correctly. But it's fun to it's interesting to see how quick that can, the production side of things goes across. I'm gonna have to be really careful and not go too much further into that because I'm telling you, I could go all night on that. I mean, I've been
I'm the
doing this
same,
for
yeah.
about at least over 3 years now. I mean, I got in Tranquility in, like, season 2, and then season 3 was my first time doing any kind of casting, and then I took over in I think it was season 5 as Twitch manager, so, yeah, I could go on for a while about that. So, we won't do that, but I did wanna ask you something, so I'm gonna ask most of our other guests tonight, a little bit about Overwatch 2. I mean, today was the content drop, or I
Yeah.
guess the break of when you could drop content, so and there's a lot of excitement around that. But one thing I have been hammering on in the background is thinking I want there to be changes in how spectation works or how broadcasts work with Overwatch 2. So, what's something you want to see implemented as a caster in regards to Overwatch 2? Maybe not even as a player here. It could be a balance change if you think it's going to be more interesting. But as a pure caster, what's a change you want to see?
See, as a caster, the thing with Overwatch, and one of the main issues with the massive 6v6 aspect is just being able to give the viewers like a way of understanding this game. There is
Yeah,
so much that
so
happens
much.
in
So
Overwatch.
much.
Team fights can be such a cluster of ability usage
Hmm.
that it's so hard to try and get like new people that maybe don't understand the game, try and give them a level of understanding.
Oh,
So it's an unrealistic thing, but like some better way of individual abilities being like clear on when they're being used.
hmm.
Uh, there is no way to declutter the game.
Yeah,
You know, if even with only 10 people in a match, if 10 people all pop their abilities at the same time, it's gonna be chaos. There's gonna be a lot
yeah,
going on the screen. But
yeah.
if there were like like more obvious animations, something like in the kill feed where you can, because the kill feed has it where you can see what ability killed someone.
Hmm.
If there was something like that in a spectator view that kind of
Mm,
showed what
okay.
abilities have or haven't been used, like there are some experimental mode spectator overlays that can show you what abilities have and haven't been used, that then for an analyst in particular would make it easier for them to break down exactly what happened in a fight.
Oh yeah.
I think that would be easier because then they could pinpoint for the viewers, what really turned the fight around.
Mhm. Yeah, I can't tell you how many hours I poured into, working on workshop codes so that we could change the trait code to have a toggleable, menu as a spectator to then
Mm.
have that pop up so I could have our analysts see that, and my god, did I pour some hours trying to get that to work, and, I mean, obviously it didn't work out, but, I would love to see something like that too. That would be wonderful. Okay, so let's go a little bit outside of Overwatch here. So I know you're a pretty big music fan. What's some of the genres you like to listen to?
Yeah. Oh, wait. I can never get the angle right on these. So I am big into like alt rock, punk, pop
Okay.
stuff. So
Mhm.
I have a lot of it tattooed on me. I have like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, My Chemical Romance. Paramore. That is
Mhm.
also Paramore Fake Happy. It's my personal
Nice.
favorite. It's oriented so that I can read it myself. I have Fall Out Boy there and Panic at the Disco. So I'm very alt rock personally, punk rock, whatever people want to call it. That's what I've tattooed on myself. That is my great obsession is music like that for sure.
Oh, what's the I'm trying to forget what's the name of that. I don't know if you saw it. There's this concert happening or this festival in Las Vegas, Nevada here in the States that it's just all that. It's just all of the bands I listened like I've always liked.
I
It's one of the
I'd
most
heard about it,
insane
but
things.
the name of it is never gonna come to mind, but I
Oh,
know, like, I've
when
heard
you
of
were it's like
exactly
when we
what
were
you're
young or
talking
something like
about.
that or some
I
yeah,
th
when we were young festival, I
I
think.
think that's ringing a bell, so I think
Yeah.
you might be right with that,
Oh,
but
yeah.
yeah,
I
I've
just
heard it.
Googled it and I
Yeah,
saw Avril Lavigne, Bring Me the Horizon,
yeah,
Jimmy Eat World, and I'm like, "I'm pretty sure that's it." That's that's the right ballpark, at least on this.
yeah, I've got so many I do it's I'm planning on having just a full patchwork
Full
sleeve
sleeve
of
of it.
all of that, basically.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome. Well, those some of the artists I always like listening to growing up too, so that's pretty awesome. You might hopefully don't run out of too much space because there's some intricate designs for a lot of those bands,
yeah, yeah, like,
they're not
took up
just slapping a
took some
couple of
room there.
letters for their for
No.
their logo. They're doing something a little better there. Alright, well, last question here, so I referred to it at the beginning a little bit. We gotta talk a little bit about football here, and we'll
Yeah,
start with English football, but you're also an American football fan.
I am,
Um,
yes.
I'm a huge fan of Jurgen. Love me some Jurgen. But I want you to tell me, sir, that Jurgen Klopp's the manager of the team that Unchanged is wearing Liverpool. But explain to them why Tuchel, the manager of my team Chelsea, is the best coach in the English Premier League.
Uh, Akara, who is German, will probably crucify me if I don't correct and say that it's Jurgen Klopp. The
Oh,
J is pronounced like a
excuse me.
a,
It
a
is.
Y.
It is correct.
But
Yeah.
uh, Tuchel's done well with what he's got. I can't say anyone is a better manager than
I love
Jurgen
him.
with what
He's
he's
so
done with the
good.
club.
So good.
He's one of my favorite sideline personalities.
Yeah.
I would pay just to have a little spectator cam that follows him around
Him
on the
around the
side of
whole
every
time.
football match. We've spoken about it with like some casters and that you joke that their personalities are so funny you would almost pay just to see what
Yeah.
reactions they're doing in between games where you don't normally get to see them. I would
Mhm.
love that for someone like Jurgen Klopp. But yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
over where I am in England. You grow up, football is the sport. Every other year there's a major competition that everyone
Mhm.
tunes into, and
Yeah.
uh, I grew up. My dad supports Liverpool, and I grew up watching Pepe
Yeah.
Reina, the goalkeeper.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just fell in love with players like that. So yeah, it's just again being like I said, an overly competitive person. It was just what I was hooked onto. It's what I grew up watching, and that became my obsession growing up, and then just sports in general from there. But yeah, Liverpool. I just they had some amazing players. Even if they didn't win anything when I was actually younger, I had to wait
Yeah.
until fairly recently for us to start
It's
winning
saying
things again.
it's been worth the wait though because they've shared. I mean, they're always are popular here because a couple of the big players, made it over to the states and stuff, so that always helped out. But
Yeah,
it's always refreshing because everyone around me is just United fans. Because like that's the entry level American English
yeah.
Premier League soccer team. You just see that in like Real and Barcelona jerseys everywhere. So it's always refreshing to see something a little different. But all right, I know I had some more questions planned here on change, but I think I'm going over a little bit on time here.
Yeah, I feel like
So
we're gonna take away from everyone else's time. We've
yeah,
got
I don't want to go
some
too far
other
here.
amazing guests here, and
Yeah, so is there
people will hear
anything
enough of our voices.
exactly. Is there anything else you would like to share tonight?
No, I just want to shout out to my NA team as well. I don't know if many of them are watching. I know there's a couple from the Scrum Bucks that are, but Vengeance, we had a bit of a roster overhaul recently, but uh, getting back into playing Overwatch myself, I've made some great friends within that team. So I want to shout out to Vengeance, and hopefully we can come back with a bit of a grind for the rest of this competition. And obviously a big shout out to anyone from EU that is watching. This EU competition this season has been incredible. I'm so happy to see Trank hosting such a competitive EU tournament, something that is much needed in the EU Overwatch scene for sure.
I'm happy for it as well. I don't think this is going to be the peak of what we're gonna have EE wise here in Tranquility. So make sure everyone's keeping their eyes and ears for that. Got a lot planned with that. But thank you so much, Unfeatured. I really appreciate you being on the beat drop here tonight. Now please go to bed because it's very late for you.
It is 3:30. Yeah, I will
Okay, yeah, good.
definitely get some
Time for
rest.
you to go to bed here. But then it's time for us then to welcome our second guest of the night here. We are going to be bringing Womp on here to join us here on the broadcast. Womp, welcome to the Beat Drop. How are you?
I'm doing well, and you?
You've been hearing me talk for about an hour now, so
True,
you
true.
probably have at least an okay idea. Well, our team captain of Valkyrie, thanks for joining us here tonight. So,
Yeah.
we normally like to again start with our Overwatch questions here. So,
hmm
what kind of brought you towards Tranquility?
well, for tranquility, I was in Caden Vieira's Discord that I
Mhm.
met through Field Card, and so in one of the channels, Soriyuma Thea, I was asking for like a player to join her team, and so I was like, yeah, I'm down, so I ended up joining what first main tank, off tank later on in that same season. Then went over to promoted to Valk. I really wanted to play main sport at the time, and that was like diamond main sport. So I went up. I played that for a season, and then what I played Fox Sport now for this season so far, and I've been loving it.
We think a lot of Tranquility is due to Caden and her reach to, various different groups. He's brought quite a lot to us. Definitely all Caden stands on our staff side. So before kind of getting into Caden, what was really your journey of really Overwatch as a game itself?
Well, I was a fan of like first person shooters, but like I wasn't playing them because my parents weren't like buying them for me at the time. I had a PS3. That was actually my second console. I think it was either that or the PSP, but it was one of those. But I mostly played COD. I had Ghost at the time, and I
Ghost was
also
underrated. That was a good game.
I did enjoy Ghost. And then Roblox Phantom Forces. I unironically loved that game a lot.
Yeah.
It was so fun. And then Overwatch came along. Dab showed me the news. Shout out to Dab Master, my IRL best friend. Love the guy. But yeah, he showed me the game. I got super interested. Diverse cast, just very interesting kits, and I immediately fell in love with the game.
Yeah,
Uh,
I remember feeling that same way. I was just looking for something new, and right when it popped up, I never had taken to a game
yeah.
in the way that Overwatch kinda did. I don't know if it's just I think there's just so much visible effort behind the heroes besides just the gameplay that you can just latch onto, and I think it's just almost impossible to really not get hooked. I don't know any cat I don't know anybody that only came into Overwatch as casual and didn't like just become obsessed with it. They might
Oh
not be
yeah.
playing now, which I can't blame half. I can't blame them, but
Yeah, I loved the lore. The lore
oh,
was
so good.
I really loved it, and I'm so glad they're continuing it again.
Yeah, well, speaking of continuing lore, have you been following some of the releases today? I'm going to be asking all our interviews, of course,
Yeah.
about this today. So, what's that favorite change you've seen so far?
Oh, it's definitely has to be Arisa.
Oh, it's so fun. It looks so much fun.
Just not only does it look fun, just such a different play style that I just really love when they like just completely flip a play style.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be like playing a brand new game almost, right? I mean,
Oh
like
yeah. Gee,
it looks
shocker.
like shields are kind of just going away, which
Yeah.
I love. I mean, I was even seeing some people saying Orisa's really the choice now for Brawl Tank. Like
Oh
Ryan
yeah.
has its play, but that new Orisa looks like a ton of fun.
It's
Um,
funny, like, I thought Doom would end up being the brawl character, and he's like a diver now. I was like, "Huh?"
Yep. All right. Well, let's kind of shift here a little bit from Overwatch. So you gave me a couple of your hobbies for us to talk about here. One I wasn't expecting, billiards. So you're really into billiards.
Yeah.
Can you talk us how'd you get into that?
My father would, like, take me, and he had, like, friends, and he would always play billiards there, and, I really enjoyed, like, looking at the game. It was fun. My dad also knew like a actual pro player. I can't remember his name right now for the life of me, but he was a pretty solid player, you know. And then eventually, like I wasn't really like I was too young to play, right? Like, and then eventually, high school, that I went to a retreat. It was a Catholic high school, so so I went on the retreat. They had billiard tables there, and so whenever we had free time, I would go to the billiard tables, play there, and it was so much fun there.
Would that have been a Kairos retreat? Same name?
Ah,
That was what mine was called, so I was just curious.
yeah, yeah.
That's cool though. My funny pool story. I grew up with a table. Like I love to play, and then I didn't for a while. Then I got to college, and I was like, I probably still can play. I'll be fine. So one of the first times I was at a bar, I brought in my quarters because everything's quarter tables for us here.
Yeah.
Slapped down like a whole stack. I was ready to go. Took off my first shot against these strangers there. Loser had to buy a drink. Scratched on the first opening shot, and I just walked away. Just left.
Ah.
I'm like, I can't play with that. I was like, you can't come back from that. So another hobby I know you're talking about, and I know we have some others in Tranquility that are really into this as well, but is horror. Not only horror movies, but also reading stories, reading novels, like horror novels. So, what's some of your favorite titles across both film and books?
I would say the Scream series. That's a
Yeah,
it's a
classic.
classic.
The new one I heard is fantastic.
I really enjoyed it. Like a bunch of the classics. Friday the 13th, Child's Play. What else? Hills Have Eyes was also pretty nice. And then some other ones like Happy Death Day, and then a TV show for mystery TV show Alienist.
Okay.
And then there were None and the Hercule Poirot
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
novels,
hmm
especially the ones that went to the movie. Right?
yeah.
I really love
Have you ever
those.
read any Lovecraft?
Nah.
Okay.
I would
So
love to though.
H.P. Lovecraft's an interesting horror read because it's
Yeah, he is.
yeah, those are fun. You can find those pretty cheap used places. I mean, you can find like a couple dollar books at like some used bookstores. Those are
Yeah,
some fun
yeah.
ones. I definitely recommend those. So if you had to recommend a movie and a book to somebody new who, maybe doesn't know much about horror, what would be the ones you'd go with?
I'm probably gonna go with the first Scream because it's probably one of my favorites,
Mhm.
along with two other non horror movies. Reservoir Dogs and Clue. Well, actually, Clue is mystery. So yeah, but it's not horror. So, and then for the book, I would have to say, and then there were none by Agatha Christie.
Oh, great one.
Yeah, read that in middle school, and I really loved it.
Oh, Agatha Christie's great. I grew up with them. My mom's a huge Agatha Christie fan, so
Yeah.
she used to read those to us growing up. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, awesome, Womp. Well, it's been great talking with you here tonight. Is there anything you'd like to share here before we let you go?
I probably want to shout out to the people in the chat. I see. Hi, Phantom. I won't smile. Smile. Hi, Bubba. Hi, Mim.
NPC
Hi.
was very happy about the field jersey.
Yeah, yeah. It's Crimson's. So yeah, really love the guy. I did shout you out, Mimp. And hi, Gap. Hi,
There you go.
everyone.
Everyone else that's there is too slow to type, and they don't deserve a shout out then. Well, thank you, Womp. I really appreciate you coming here to talk with us here in the Beat Drop tonight. Best of luck here going into the playoffs here with your team. All right, and that's going to take us now to our third interview of the night. We are going to have joining us Phoenix from the Big Bang Buccaneers. Phoenix, hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Glad you could make it here with us. Congratulations on the fantastic stage 2 for the Big Bang Buccaneers. Quite the turnaround. Always been a fan myself. Jewish Missile was one of my first. He was on my team back in season 2 of Tranquility here. So I've known him quite a while. So really happy to see everybody succeeding.
Yeah. Kraken is one of the best coaches.
I love
like honestly, he may be bronze DPS, but he knows how to keep everyone's mentals in check. He's like our hidden carry of the team, honestly.
Kraken's been I'll gush for a second. It's one of my favorite additions this season to the Twitch team. They came in to join us just to do our League of Legends broadcasts that we did in the preseason for the Tranquility Triathlon, and have stuck around to do some Overwatch casting and have just been fantastic. I love the guy. So yeah, huge Buccaneers fan here myself. You could buy yourself a Buccaneers jersey if you would like this week! Exclamation point store in the chat. Okay. Okay.
Too good.
I'm just too good at it. I'll run it. I'm gonna actually have another ad at the end. Please stick around for it. That we're gonna show for a store that NPC put a lot of time and effort into. So make sure you're sticking around for the end of broadcast for that. But okay, Phoenix. So what brought you here to Tranquility?
I actually came over from the like mini tournament between GGNA and Trank a while back. Basically I kind of just been off on the sideline until I kind of wanted to get competitive again. I was on a team in GGNA season 4. The team fell apart. So I kind of was like feeling a bit nostalgic for it. I was looking for a team, and Apathy was having a um LFP post for hit scan, so that's when I applied. And I actually didn't make it through tryouts. Beppo actually got picked over me. Um, so but then Beppo had a issue with his SR being too high like 3 seasons ago.
Yeah.
So we had to wait for the season to end before we added Beppo. So I was also contacted after asking like, "Hey, you want to fill for like a few weeks until we get Beppo back in?" Um, and basically by the end of it, the team unanimously I can't talk. I'm sorry.
Unanimously. Don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
definitely. Decided like I would be in, and like I'm just, like, awestruck by it,
That's awesome.
especially Beppo, because I'd be cutting into, like, his playtime, and,
Yeah.
like, he definitely, like, deserves to be, like, on the spot. Uh, so, shout out to him. He could have just been shellfish and just said, like, "Yay, this is my role, get out of here."
Yeah, that wouldn't be the first time. We've definitely seen that happen around the parts. So, well, that's awesome. Obviously, you deserve to be here. You wouldn't be. So what was it about Overwatch that really made you fall in love with the game?
Um, First off, I really like the lore, and
So,
this is, like, my first FPS I've played, too. First PC game
mhm.
as well. When I first joined Overwatch, I was very bronze. But I grinded a lot. I really liked the competitive feel of it too. I didn't really get that with anything else. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, the lore is really top of the notch on this. It was the first game of I'm gonna say this caliber or size, or maybe even this like this value or like production value that had money put into it that had such mainstream lore in terms of how the game marketed and advertised it. I mean, there's probably other games that I at least played throughout my life that probably had, content being created around that, even like back at the maker itself, but nothing until like Overwatch really showcased it and really wanted the players to interact with it just as much as they interact with the game. Which sometimes it feels like they just want people to play the game and then move on and buy the new one in the next year. So that was kind of one of the refreshing parts here. Well, speaking of new game here in the next year, what's your thoughts here on some of the Overwatch 2 news from today? What's one of the changes that you're looking at that you're excited about?
Um, this is pretty niche. But Bastion's new rework,
Mhm.
for his right click
Oh,
does knockback.
yeah.
So I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
everyone's seen the clips of it, and it's just gonna be so fun to like go on Bastion flanks from like the side.
hmm Have you seen Frogger's video today? Showcases
Mhm.
about 5 minutes of gameplay of that, and it's pretty impressive what you're able to do with it. It's I don't it's like I don't even want to say comparable to a fair concussive blast, but it feels like you have even way more range than that. Even It's quite extraordinary. If you haven't seen it, I recommend going to look it up there. Okay, so shifting away from Overwatch here a little bit. You were mentioning that you're a pretty big history buff. You're really into geography, into flags, which is something in high school they
Yeah.
gave us iPads my senior year, and they had like 3 apps on it you could use, but one of them was some I don't know who made it, but you had to guess flags with countries, and that was just like flashcards the whole time. And I had the record at the school for like the whole year until some kid just kept grinding through it in study hall because he wanted to make a point about it. So I understand the like there about it. But what's one of your favorite historical events to kind of learn about or read about?
Um, I'm really interested in the like early 1900s,
Okay. Yeah.
because that's when like a lot of geopolitics became important, especially like in Europe. Really interesting to see like alliances and stuff like that. There's a lot of like development and stuff
Interesting.
like that.
Yeah, that's a cool one. That's a time frame that there's not tons of media about,
Mhm,
at least in terms of the political aspect of it. That you kind of get a little bit like when you get closer to World War One, I think a little bit, right? That's
mhm.
probably the earliest 1900s, and then when it gets to like um, like the Roaring Twenties. That's like at least American wise, what a lot of like movies and stuff focus around. But what's then some pieces of media, like either video games or movies, TV shows that are like your favorite representations of historical fiction?
Okay. One of the ones I feel does it like the best and like is like completely immersive and then like you feel like you're there is actually gonna be Metal Gear Solid 5,
Okay, yeah,
which takes place in the 1960s, 70s. Um it's like got a lot of small details in it. A lot of it is like historical fantasy though,
mhm.
for like the storytelling and stuff. But like the narrative that they have during that and like just like even like small people are like represented pretty well there.
Oh, that's really cool. Well, then on the counter side of that, what's one of your least favorites or somebody you think that's really botched it? I'm sure there's a lot to pick from.
Uh, well, uh, I I don't really know. There's a lot of things that can be bad, but usually that's for like a narrative thing where they're
Okay.
trying to do the story. So I can't really pick out a certain one.
Okay.
Because I also haven't seen that much that wouldn't like if I got recommended something because it was good, I'd go out and watch it.
Understandable.
So,
I think at a certain point too, you end up getting so many people interested in the topic that they're producing that I mean, unless you're getting like honestly some really like the first thought I always had, my roommate was always so frustrated with Battlefield 1 because there were automatic rifles. He's like "This is World War One. There's no automatic rifles." And but then, like, at the point of that, like, they had so much historical, like, guidance in making the game that they're like, "Alright, do we wanna make this game fun, or do we wanna make it completely historical accurate?" And I think sometimes, it's okay to bend around that there a little bit. Well, you've been, one of our most frequent editors this season, for the Iris podcast, doing montages, doing some of the comms checks. What's got you into video editing?
um, honestly, I kind of have like school to thank for it, like unironically. A lot of the times I just try to do like projects in school. Like one of the history ones was that I had to advertise jousting tournaments in like a newscast, so I had to like try to think ways around that, and I started getting um really into like the process of that, and I also was into music a bit too, so that also helps a lot with montages.
Yeah, sometimes we've had in the past. I've talked to a few of our video editors. They pick a song first, and then they go look at the clips, and they're like, "I'm gonna bend it around." So, what's your kind of process with that? Are you looking at the clips first and then going back, or do you start with music?
I actually start with music.
Okay, yeah,
That way I can tone down the clips. I usually like keep the same clips I'm gonna put in, but I put down the music as the bass line, that way I can hear through it and see where the intense parts are, or if it's like a
Mhm.
slower play, I can put that in on the slower end. So I can kind of like theme it with the music pretty well.
Gotcha. Well, what's a few tips you would want to give to somebody that was just starting out with editing?
Um, Try to get used to different effects, but don't overdo it at the same time because you want it to look presentable, and pretty polished, but not to the point where it's not about the gameplay and it's just more about like what you can fit in. It's kind of like having a PowerPoint where you have like rainbow color and 3D text and like 20 transitions. Uh so tone it down and try to, when you're starting out, I would say try to see what all the transitions do, just experiment a little. That way you can see what works.
Yeah, see what works, see what doesn't work. What's one last one? What's your favorite type of video to edit so far?
Uh Definitely the montage. Comms check, you can get like really funny stuff, but
Mhm.
there's not too much that goes into it. Like you do captions, and then you just have background music and censoring, I guess. But the montage, it makes you like more immersed in the music, like you're trying to listen to where everything should be. Understanding the clips and, like, editing it down. Sometimes, like, you have a bit too much room or, like, you need a bit of filler because you don't have enough for the music.
Yeah,
So I feel like the
that
montage.
I think that's a lot of people always end up seeing, just a lot of I can't think of the name now off the top of my head, but like the fast paced montages, like they're right. My God, why can't I think of it? I was just going over this a few days ago. Man, it's already escaped my head. But that seems like a pretty good entry point for a lot of people is montages from other games or going through to sync up, find some really fast paced song and going through. So it's fun to see that continues on there. That was the first one I tried to do. It never ended up being as good as you guys here. Hence why I haven't thrown my name in the running to pick up some of the videos. I'll leave it up to you guys instead. But it's been great talking with you here, Phoenix. Is there anything you'd like to shout out here before we let you go?
I would like to, shout out, like, all the space pirates, my team. Everyone's just been super supportive for me. Uh, and, like, honestly, this is, like, a really big, experience for me.
Well, I'm glad you've enjoyed your stay here with Tranquility so far. We definitely want to keep you around here. And of course, shout out to the group over there. I know you're with a good group of people playing Overwatch. So thank you so much, Phoenix. It's been great talking with you. We're going to let you go, though, here as we go to our fourth and final interview of the night from the Decapitators. We have Garrett joining us. Garrett, welcome to the Beat Drop. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Glad to have you on. Thanks for sticking with us tonight. No, we've been running a little late here, but excited to get to talk with you so far. So, Garrett, decaps, fantastic end there to stage two for you guys.
Thank
I
you.
mean, definitely what they're calling that top four in Tranquility there. What's your time here been like with decaps so far?
Honestly, it's been awesome. It's probably been my like favorite team experience I've had in a really long time. Everyone, I honestly think like everyone in their respective roles is probably the best player in the trans tier. Like Voltage, Nagi, best support line by far, Smugs, Chase, Derek. They're all like everyone on that team is just insane. And our
It's a-
coordination is good. We have good coaching. Everything's awesome.
And I first saw their roster, I was like, oh my god, like how the hell did they get a ball in one?
It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah, the coaching too is what really took it over the line when I saw who you guys had for it. I was like, oh my good lord, but how can decaps not be a favorite for this season? And you guys have proved it so far. Um, Done absolutely fantastic. Well, okay, so what led you here to Tranquility?
It was I mean I've been playing on teams and playing competitive Overwatch for almost like 5 years now. And like I was just hopping around teams. I played with my sibling Glitch on teams before, and I eventually ended up on it was like a dark horse team like 3 seasons ago called Q for Quarantine. It
Yeah,
existed for 1 season in Discord tier.
you guys
And
are.
there
You
was
guys are. When I think of Dark Horse, that is what I
yeah,
think of
we won.
Tranquility.
We
That was,
got
that
third
was cool.
place.
Yeah,
And we were just I mean, it was an interesting situation entirely, but And I had like this whole thing where I was dropped from the roster. I went and played on Reminiscence for like 4 weeks, and then I was back on Q. But that's how I found my start in Trank. And then I took a break, and then I rejoined, and now I'm here again.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Overwatch for 5 years, which crazy to think is pretty much been almost the whole time the game's been out. I think 2016 is about
Yep.
when, yeah, so almost the full time. Definitely not normally the tenure that's around with a lot of our players so far. It seems like a lot of people have kind of jumped over from console and then built their computer and started playing Overwatch on it. So cool to see someone else who's been playing it about as long as as the few other of us staff here. So what's been, in your opinion, the biggest difference now playing in a team environment in Tranquility compared to your previous Overwatch experiences?
I mean, definitely like teams now definitely have a lot more structure than they did. However, like a couple years ago,
Mhm.
like the first team I played on was a mess. Like that started like I joined that team around like the GOATS era. That's when I first started playing on teams. So, and I was playing main tank, and I was like 13. And just in general, it was a lot more chaotic. There weren't like managers and
Yeah.
the roster. It was like 17-man rosters,
Oh my god.
and
Oh.
we were like swapping our flex support onto main support and putting in a different flex support all the time. And that I think that's the biggest difference, is that aside from obviously metas becoming a lot more prevalent as well, is definitely like teams are much more organized now at this level than they used to be.
It's not only that we learned how to find comps, that I like to say with goats. Goats taught us how to rethink Overwatch in general. That was when team GMs were just basically the person in charge of DMing each week to figure out what time you were going to play in Tranquility. And then when goats started to come in around, everybody started to get coaches. That's honestly, I think, when in like LFT posts, you started to actually put your role, like your sub role. So it wasn't just, you just would say, oh, I'm a support player. Like there wasn't flex support or main support, like in common knowledge for people. They just say like, oh yeah, I play Zen, Mercy, and Lucio the most. And like then people started, shifting off to their actual roles. I think Goats did so much more for Overwatch than we really give it credit to. And in terms of at least how like, tournaments like Tranquility run, I think it completely redefined every aspect of it. But enough of my rant there. In terms of redefining Overwatch, I got to ask about Overwatch 2 again. What's your take on all like the info being dropped today?
I'm honestly so excited. I mean, because I play off tank, right? So for the past 2 years, I've played the same exact character in every scrim and comp game, like ever. It's just only Diva.
Only
I'm so excited to play other tanks. Like, from what I've been hearing, Zarya is really good, and that's my main.
happy.
Like that's by far my best character. I'm so excited to be able to play Zarya again because she's so bad right now. It's
Yeah,
so frustrating.
it, even in Brawl. I mean, when I was it just always,
It
it
still
never even,
sucks.
it still sucks. Ugh. And then like when Zari was at her peak, they're like, no, that's for the DPS to play now. You don't get to play that. You're still stuck on Diva jail. Oh man, I know. I'm excited for that too. It's been fun to see Zarya getting playtime because it might make me bust out the actual mouse again and not this $5 wireless mouse I've been using for 2 years to play some more comp because she's too much fun.
I'm
But
so
yeah, no,
hyped for
I'm
Zarya.
so excited for a tank play to change up. It looks like the best. I'm happy. I was worried being a tank player that I was like, they're gonna
Yeah,
change
I
it.
was scared. I was like, oh, they're gonna ruin my role, and I have to play
Now I'm
main
more,
tank.
now I'm more worried to be a support player after what I've seen.
Yeah,
That's what I'm more scared of. All right, so shifting away here from Overwatch, you've mentioned that you want to pursue being a tattoo artist. So, how did you come across that?
it was actually through Overwatch as well.
Oh wow!
So my favorite team is the New York Excelsior, and I remember when I was it was like 2019
Hmm.
when Jonak got that tattoo on his forearm with the roses and the snake. I
Yeah, yeah.
saw that on an owl stream, and I was like, that's the coolest thing ever. And I would just start drawing stuff like that, and ever since it's just been a slope ever since then. I'm excited when I graduate high school. I'm gonna be moving and I'm gonna try looking for an apprenticeship. I'm very excited about it. I could
Yeah.
talk about it forever.
Yeah, that's a cool one. My fiance is really big into tattoos as well. I have to keep her balanced because if not, she'd be a sack of ink in the next 2 years. So, no, I completely understand that. I don't think it ever stops of thinking of a new design or a new place on it. She's at least kept it balanced. Where if she gets one on the right part of her body, she has to get one on the left side then, and has to keep it even number because she has this weird relationship with odd numbers. But anyway, not a thing to have when you're into tattoos. Then not like
Yeah.
odd numbers. Well, maybe it is then. Then you have an excuse to get two of them. So besides tattoos, I know you're also really into going to the gym. So I really wanted to ask, what's a common misconception that you've seen around working out or around fitness in general?
I mean, I was so excited when I saw that question. I was so excited because I think the biggest thing is weight loss is not a good way to gauge like how healthy and fit you are. Because
Yeah.
especially if you're doing something like mass gaining or strength building, you are going to gain weight because you're adding muscle.
Mhm.
And just like if you're working out to lose weight, that's amazing. And it's a good reason too, but a lot of weight loss comes from dieting and meal planning and stuff like that alongside working out. Working out on
Mhm.
like on its own actually will not do that much for your overall weight. You have to
Yeah.
kind of do
Yeah.
both.
Well, I'll even say so. I've lost over 100 pounds in my life through a diet, and that was primarily just through changing the food I ate. And so much of that was masked then when I started to go back weightlifting afterwards because I had a back injury. I had to be careful. I had lost so much muscle that I was doing half of what my normal was in
Yeah.
some places for things. So you can't do one without the other and expect there to be any sort of balance. So
Yeah.
now I'm happy you said that. That's always one of my most common misconceptions I tell people too, is you can't have one and not the other. They're so commingled with each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
'Cause, like think about it, like muscles, they have weight.
Yeah. Yeah. And they have
If
to
you get
repair.
bigger muscles, yeah.
Yeah, they got to rebuild themselves afterwards. If you're not giving it the protein and the right stuff to do it, yeah, you're gonna be in for not a fun time.
Yeah.
So what's a normal routine like for you then, going to the gym? Like let's just say on any given day.
I mean, so I go by muscle groups.
Okay.
So like I'll do a different muscle group every day of the week basically.
Hmm.
Like for instance, I've lined it up so that I will no matter regardless of the day that I play match on, I will always do legs because I love to do legs.
Smart.
I
You
love
don't wanna you don't wanna
it'll yeah,
game
I'll be
day.
like barely moving my arm while
Yep.
playing. But I usually do chest and shoulders first, then legs, and then I'll do arm and then core. That's usually how it goes, but sometimes I switch it up if I'm not feeling like doing something. I don't like doing shoulders that much.
Yeah,
Because
that's where I'm at
I've
messed.
got bad shoulders.
So that will at least take it from somebody who got injured because they weightlifted too much with their shoulders. My high school coaches only cared about stats and the numbers you were putting up,
Yeah.
percentile above others. So I could leg press and shoulder press, like such high amounts compared to like my bench and squat that I actually ended up like really hurting, like doing like muscle nerve damage in
Yeah.
my lower back because of it. So yeah, don't if something's not working right, make sure you're doing it the right way. But it seems like you are. What's something you would recommend to a beginner who's just looking to increase their fitness overall?
I mean, if someone wanted to just get stronger, I would definitely recommend doing maybe and if you wanted to get stronger, I would definitely do like more bodybuilding sort of definitely like bench pressing and shoulder press, all that stuff. It really depends on what you're looking to do. If you're trying to lose weight, definitely doing more cardio would be better. If you're trying to add weight, then you have to do some like bench pressing stuff and then also be eating a ton. It really depends. Like I more or less work out just for like I don't know, I like the feeling. So I definitely do a lot of like heavyweight kind of stuff. It makes me feel good about myself.
Yeah,
Um, which I mean, if that's what it takes, it's good for you to go do it. So
I don't think
honestly, whatever
there'd be a
is
better
best
way
for
to feel
you.
good about yourself than if you just do
Yeah.
something physical fitness, I couldn't tell you if there was. Well, I had one last question. You kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier. How on earth have you survived being Glitch's sibling? How on earth?
I don't know. I turned
Yeah.
18 in 5 days, and I don't think I am surprised I made it this far. I'm not even kidding. Like 2 minutes ago, Glitch came to my door and opened it and just like waved at me. And I was trying to like shoo them away. I was like, I'm in an interview right now. Please go away.
Oh,
It was so annoying.
chat was edging
like-
Glitch on to come jump on camera, so that's why.
The Glitch is so, and they're so loud too. Like when I'm trying to sleep, it's just like screaming. His room's right next to mine. Is terrible. The worst sibling I could have asked for, honestly. Like our dog like bites me, and I like him more.
Oh my goodness. Well, happy early birthday then, Garrett. I hope it's a good 18 for you. But thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Is there anything else you'd like to shout out or share here before we end broadcast?
I'd like to specifically shout out the Odd Duck hat fan club, which is Nagi and Cry. Thank you for liking my hat. I also like my hat. I think it's really cool.
That is a pretty dope hat. All right, well, Garrett, we're also thank you to Unchanged, WompDomp, and Phoenix for joining us here tonight. It's been a real fun time interviewing everybody. Make sure everyone's staying tuned. Even though this is the end of the regular season, we have one match still on Sunday. I think Mr. Yeti alluded to it in the last broadcast. We're going to be doing Epizeuxis versus Devil Dukes Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Not 8:30, 30 minutes earlier. And so looking forward to that. It'll be our final regular season match, one of the last broadcasted matches before the beta comes out. I wish everybody the best of luck in getting the beta. We're hoping for it ourselves here too. But until then, thank you everybody so much for joining. We're going to have some more beat drops here as we go into the playoffs. Make sure you tune in Monday for that bracketology mega cast over on the Iris podcast. But for Booth, thank you so much. That was weird saying for Booth. I didn't like that. For myself and Tranquility, that sounds a little better. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight, and we'll see everybody next time.
What's up, my friends? Today, I'm here to tell you the truth. You can be people or you can be sheeple, okay? I'm going to tell you how it is, okay? And you can trust me, all right? Because I've got a ball cap, sunglasses, facial hair, and I'm recording this video in my car alone outside of a fast food joint, okay? I'm sick and tired of my MMR going down the toilet, okay? I win game after game. I carry the team on my back, and I never get out of ELO hell, okay? I stepped away from the game. I looked at the big picture. I started to realize it all made sense, you see? That's exactly what they want. The system is designed to keep us down. They've developed a game where the top 500 players control 90% of the SR, while the rest of us down in middle class are struggling to stay in gold, okay? I've been thinking, we gotta take our SR back. We gotta make our games great again. You know what? It hit me. We need to stand together, all right? You and me. We need to start a movement that can't be censored online. Something that can't be canceled, okay? It's got to be physical. It's got to be real, okay? That's why my friends over at shop.spreadshirt.com/OW Tranquility work really hard to bring quality shirts and other merchandise with amazing designs at prices cheaper than a gallon of gas, okay? Let me tell you something. All right? Back in my day, things were hard, okay? We had to go to a store and pick out whatever shirts they had on the rack, okay? Whatever shirts they wanted us to wear. And nothing pisses me off more than watching people enjoy the comforts of modern technology, okay? You snowflakes now can just go to shop.spreadshirt.com/OWTranquility on your little computers, okay, and click a couple of buttons, and then they mail exactly the shirt you want right to your door in just a couple of days. Okay, I had to go to the store. I had to go to the mall. Those big stores, those big shirt companies in the mall like Hot Lunch and Specters and Forever 45, all those guys, they don't want you to know about all the great deals and epic designs over at shop.spreadshirt.com/OWTranquility. Okay, they'll do anything to stop us. So you have to be sure to share this video with all your friends before they take it down, because you know the social media companies, they're all in on it. They're all in on it, okay? You got your Face Space and your Twit Talks. All those guys are censoring free speech when those at the big t-shirt industry types, you know, they're trying to stop me from telling you about the best deals. All right? So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and then get over to shop.spreadshirt.com/OWTranquility to stop being sheeple and start being people.